Welcome back to Off the Schneid. Today, we're taking a look at the Green Bay Packers, talking about their draft needs heading into the 2022 NFL Draft. Obviously, you can see above me their draft needs and then the draft capital that they have above that. 2 first-round picks, obviously, in that Devontae Adams trade. A couple second-round picks, again, with that trade. Third, 2 fourths. You know, they've got quite a bit of capital. You know, they haven't had a ton in recent years, not like this at least, where they can definitely add some difference makers and, you know, hopefully keep this train running and win themselves another division. Keep an eye out for my mock draft coming out in about a week. Hopefully on the 22nd of April it comes out. 2 first-round picks for the Packers. I'm not sure if I'll have them trading around or not. We'll see. Keep an eye out for that. But they're definitely gonna. There's a few teams that are controlling certain, you know, portions of the draft. You got the Giants in the top 10, the Eagles 10 through 20, and then the Packers here in the 20 through 32 sort of thing, that are going to steer that kind of 10 picks of the draft, I feel like. So it's a big draft for the Packers. It really, really is. We'll start at quarterback, like we always do. Nothing else to say, I don't think. We'll start at quarterback. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers comes back. A lot of speculation, a lot of things happening there. I've always said, if you watch this channel, you just don't move on from a guy like this. To be honest, I was shocked that the Seahawks traded Russell Wilson. They got a massive amount of, you know, picks and roster players for him, so they got a big package. But you just don't move on from a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. These guys do not grow on trees whatsoever. It is hard to find a replacement for a guy like that, especially, you know, Aaron Rodgers, who's, you know, arguably one of the better quarterbacks to ever play football. To be honest, you could make that argument, and his career's not done yet. So keep that in mind as well if we're going to have that conversation. Not that I'm saying he is. I'm just saying that you could absolutely have that conversation. Jordan Love is obviously still there, the first round pick that made absolutely zero sense for this team. Not that I don't like Jordan Love, because I had another team, which was the Colts, trading up to draft him first in the first round. It just made less than no sense for this roster with Aaron Rodgers, with where they're at. It made no sense. And, you know, now I think they're hoping they can trade him and get some capital back potentially from a team. I thought they might trade him, you know, this past offseason, you know, before the draft type of a thing. Obviously nothing materialized. Maybe there were offers, maybe there wasn't, but either way, he's still on the team as the backup. Kurt Benkert, I know that Aaron Rodgers does really like as a person and as a player and everything like that. Not that he doesn't like Jordan Love or anything like that, but, you know, he stays on the roster, you know, practice squad guy. Maybe if they have him dress a few games here and there, injuries, whatever it is, he's still there as well. Danny Etling, I don't particularly expect him to be on this roster, but there you go. There's your quarterback room, but obviously it starts and ends with Aaron Rodgers. We'll move to running backs, which is in a fantastic position in my opinion. Aaron Jones is phenomenal, very good all around, do everything, you know, 3-down running back. But then so is AJ Dillon. If you watch this channel for any extended period of time, I thought that AJ Dillon might have been the best running back in that draft year, in the 2020 draft year, where he was a second-round pick out of Boston College. I very, very, very much like AJ Dillon. I think he's a phenomenal running back, and you know, that's a two-headed beast in the backfield for the Packers that I do expect to run the ball a fair amount this year. Not that they didn't in any prior years, but, you know, I expect them to potentially, you know, an uptick in rushing attempts for this two-headed backfield here. And then Kylan Hill still there to, you know, he was a 7th-round pick last year. I think he plays a little bit in the return game, but he's a quality depth guy to have on your roster. If you do want to add a running back late in the draft, sure, I'm not upset about another 7th-round running back to come in and compete, camp body, you know, and push guys. Competition's always good. It's always good at the NFL level to bring in a competition piece and just let the best man win, especially when it's, you know, a 7th-round pick that's just a dart throw. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but it's not the end of the world. Josiah DeGuara, you know, a little bit of everything, plays a little tight end, little fullback, can block, can catch the ball in a pinch, that sort of thing. He actually played a fair bit at tight end when Robert Tonyan was out last year. So quality, just NFL player to have on your roster. Not that he's much of a difference maker, but he can do a lot of things that kind of go under the radar or unnoticed, but are very much appreciated in real life football. We'll kick it over to the tight end position. We started it off with Bob Tonyan. Obviously, like I said, he had a major injury last year. He should come back. Hopefully he's fully healthy and he can get back to being that red zone target that he was a couple years ago, because they are going to need him to kind of step up and be a guy, especially in the red zone with Devontae Adams no longer on this team. Mercedes Lewis is still there, vet, been around, seen everything, quality guy. I'm sure he's a great leader, locker room guy, everything like that. And then, like I said, Josiah DeGuara is kind of your second tight end, can do a little bit of everything, quality football player. So there's your tight ends. Let's kick it over to the offensive line. And this is where, I actually like what they have a lot, and I think that they can complete. I think that this offensive line is in a better spot than people are giving it credit for, as long as they do something I'm about to say right now to kind of complete this whole unit. As long as, it starts and ends with David Bakhtiari. They're going to need David Bakhtiari to be healthy this year. There's no reason to think he won't be, but they need him to get back to full health and to start, hopefully every game for this team in 2022 at left tackle. John Runyon was very good for this team last year. Very pleasant surprise, former 6th-round pick. I think he can be your starter at left guard. Josh Myers, I know Aaron Rodgers really likes. I know this team really likes, and you're hoping that he's your center of the future. 2nd-round pick, no reason to think that he won't be. Elton Jenkins, fantastic football player. Former 2nd-round pick as well. Very, very good football player. He can play literally anywhere on this offensive line. Literally every single position. The dude was drafted as a center. He's played left tackle, guard positions, right tackle. He can play anywhere on this offensive line, and they will absolutely find a home for him as a starter. So what I probably do with this offensive line, what I would like to do is move Elton Jenkins to right guard, draft myself a quality right tackle that's, maybe it's a left tackle you kick over, whatever it is, but a guy that's going to be my future right tackle. Potentially my future left tackle with David Bakhtiari, getting a little bit older and everything like that. So he's my future left tackle. Elton Jenkins can be, he can literally play anywhere. So you find a home for him no matter what it is. And then you draft a guy to slide into right tackle, and it kind of completes this offensive line, as far as your starters are concerned. And I think that's a pretty good unit, as long as they get a good piece, to be their right tackle. I think that this is actually a fairly quality offensive line. They will need to add some depth. They will absolutely have to add some depth in the draft as well. Jake Hansen's never really gotten an opportunity. Cole Van Lanen, nothing yet. Yosh Nijman, I can never say his name properly, but he's quality enough to be a backup and to be a swing guy. But they're going to have to add that depth. And like I said, if they get a quality starter at right tackle, I think that completes this unit. I really do. And I think it's kind of I think it will be kind of underrated, as long as they, with one of those 2 first-round picks, you got to do it there. You really got to do it there. If Trevor Penning's available at 22, sprint to the podium and draft Trevor Penning and plug him in at right tackle, future left tackle, hopefully. So that's what I do. Then we'll move to the wide receiver position, because that's what I do with my other first-round pick. In my opinion, it's no question what they do. And if they don't draft a wide receiver this year in the first round, I to be honest, I wasn't screaming for it in too many other years. Maybe a couple years ago I was, but I was not last year. This year, with the 2 first-round picks, you have to. With losing Devontae Adams, you absolutely have to do it. So please draft a wide receiver, Green Bay Packers. I think every single Packers fan is agreeing with me and nodding their head and screaming, top of their lungs, absolutely draft a wide receiver. So you go left tackle. If it's Trevor Penning, amazing. And then wide receiver. And if it's George Pickens, amazing. I think that's a guy that they've definitely had interest in. Maybe a guy like Christian Watson. But George Pickens, I think that with the Packers being ahead of the Chiefs, I think that they probably grab George Pickens because I think the Chiefs grab him if the Packers don't. So yeah, get yourself a right tackle, left tackle, whatever you want to call it, and then a weapon at wide receiver. I do like Allen Lazard. I think that he takes a step forward and pushes 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns this year. I think that, you know, he has the trust of Aaron Rodgers. They have that rapport, and he's a big body guy. He's a quality receiver. I like Allen Lazard quite a bit. Sammy Watkins comes in just a couple days ago. You know, he can do a lot of things. He's okay. You know, he's an okay kind of possession guy. He's got a lot of experience. He is an NFL receiver. He struggles to stay healthy at times, things like that. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with bringing in Sammy Watkins whatsoever. I know Randall Cobb is like Aaron Rodgers' best friend, so they have a good rapport. He's going to still be playing a fairly prominent role. Amari Rodgers was a third-round pick last year, slot guy out of Clemson. He's a very good player in my opinion. And then Malik Taylor, Juwan Winfrey, you know, Aaron Rodgers is a repetition guy. You know, he's all about building that rapport and having the trust, you know, because he'll make that throw. He'll make the throw. It's up to you to make the play, right? That's just kind of how he's always operated. And if he has the trust of the receiver, you know, sky's the limit sort of thing, as long as you don't let him down. Look at Devontae Adams. He wasn't a, you know, top 10, top 20 draft pick, you know, but obviously he's one of the best wide receivers in the game right now. So that's what I do if I'm the Packers, to kind of round out this offense. And, you know, I think that this team won't miss a beat if that's kind of how she goes for them. We'll see what they end up doing at these positions, but that's what I do without question with those 2 first-round picks. Left tackle, moving to right tackle, I've explained myself, and a wide receiver that, you know, is my alpha number 1 receiver right now and kind of down the road sort of thing. So there you go. Let's move over to the defensive side of the football. Let's start on the defensive line. I do have defensive line as a need, but it's more just depth. I think that they're very good as far as their starters are concerned. Kenny Clark and Dean Lowry came in the same draft year, and they're very, very good players. Jaron Reed comes over from the Chiefs, former Seahawk. I think that he's a very, very good player, and I think that their starters are more than just fine. Very, very dangerous. That's a very quality front, you know, 3 and a 3-4 defense. That's very, very good, but they're going to need some depth. So it's not the end of the world. It's not a huge need. It's just you're going to have to absolutely add a guy or two to kind of spell these guys, be rotational, that sort of a thing. Let's kick it back to the edge rushers. I do have edge rusher as a need here. I do really like Rashawn Gary in that regard. And then Preston Smith is obviously very good as well. Zadarius Smith is gone, so the law firm is broken up, but Rashawn Gary comes in and they don't miss a beat. We're going to see if Jonathan Garvin can be a guy for this team, at least a rotational guy, you know, former 7th-round pick. And this is, you know, the do or die year to see if he can be a piece on this team. He doesn't have to be, you know, a difference maker, but they just need him to be, you know, rotational, you know, when called upon, you can kind of get the job done in a pinch. I do think they're going to have to add a guy regardless, and maybe that guy kind of replaces Jonathan Garvin, but we'll see. He could be a guy. He could be a piece that is, you know, usable on this defense. Devondre Campbell was a very good pickup by this team, and he played very, very well. He's you know, sharping in as a starter for sure. And then they can get by. I like Isaiah McDuffie. I liked him coming out of the draft last year, and I think he's just fine. Ty Summers and Chris Barnes, I think that they can piece it together at linebacker. If you do want to add, again, they got a lot of picks here, so if you do want to add a linebacker, I'm not upset. It's not going to hurt the draft grade that I give you, but, you know, it's not a high priority. I don't even have it on my top 5 here, but I wouldn't fault them if they go ahead and grab some sort of linebacker somewhere in the draft. Let's kick it back towards the secondary. Eric Stokes was their 1st-round pick last year. He played well. Jair Alexander played, you know, a little bit of health issues last year, but he's a very quality corner, former 1st-round pick as well. And then Rasul Douglas is a guy that I've liked in every team he's played for. If you watch this channel and you've heard me talk about him, I've always liked Rasul Douglas. I don't know why he's bounced around so much, if I'm being honest with you. I think he played well with the Eagles when he was there, and then he's played obviously very well last year for this team. They rewarded him with a decent contract. He comes back and he's a starter on this team. So that's quality. I do have DB as a need, because it's just depth with what they have there. And then let's talk about their safeties for a second. Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage are both very good, very, very quality safeties, but it's just depth from there. So realistically, I probably should have put cornerback instead of DB, but you know, it's a little bit of both. They do need a depth safety at least, and then some depth at corner. I'm not a big believer in Shamar Jean-Charles. I don't know if he can quite get there. We'll see. So I do think that they're going to need some depth at the cornerback position and the safety position, hence again why I put DB up there. So yeah, there you go. This is a quality defense, you know, as long as nobody misses a beat, and there's no reason to think that anybody will. As long as this machine keeps rolling, they were a very good defensive team last year. I fully expect them to be a very good defensive team this year. As long as they do some things on offense to kind of just round it out and finish off that offensive unit, there's no reason to think that the Packers don't miss a beat, win the division again, go to the playoffs, and threaten to win another Super Bowl. So there you go. That's it. There's your breakdown for the 2022 Green Bay Packers. Getting you ready for the draft and everything. Like I said, keep an eye out for my mock draft in a week. It's a very big draft for the Green Bay Packers with those 2 first-round picks. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you on the next video.